Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Pain by Andrew Armstrong and Lizzie Dobson. Brought to you in part by
Woohoo!
Productions.
What happens when you take a sword, grab your friend, and chop into his shoulder? Eventually your friend will experience an immediate sharp pain, followed by a long dull ache. Eventually they'll both go away. This sensation is known as pain. Pain is a little tricky to define. The definition, according to the International Association for the Study of Pain, says that pain is an unpleasant sensory and emotional experience associated with actual or potential tissue damage. It's all about nociception.
What's nociception?
Nociception is sometimes referred to our sixth or even our seventh sense. It's pain perception. In essence, nociception is a process pain takes from the actual physical side to the brain.
Okay, but are there different types of pain?
Absolutely! There are three types of pain: somatic, neuropathic, and visceral. Somatic pain is pain detected by nerves located in the skin and deep tissues. Neuropathic pain deals with complex, chronic pain states that are usually caused by tissue injury. Visceral pain deals with nociceptive pain that comes from the internal organs. We will be discussing somatic pain, as neuropathic and visceral are both beyond the scope of this lesson.
How does it work?
The steps in the nociception process are pretty simple. First, you come in contact with the stimulus. There are two types of stimuli, chemical and mechanical. Chemical stimuli deal with burns, while mechanical stimuli deal with cuts or punctures. After you've come in contact with the pain-causing stimuli, the nerve endings sense the stimulus. This is called reception. The nerve sends the signals to the central nervous system. The relay of information usually involves several neurons with the central nervous system. Finally, the brain receives the information for further processing and action. Nociception uses different neural pathways than normal perception, such as a light touch on the arm. Non-painful stimulation causes normal somatic receptors to fire. Luckily, when something hurts, nociceptors go into action first. It's a good thing.
But I thought pain was bad.
False! Pain is good. Let's imagine a world without pain. Jimmy here is standing next to a campfire. In the world without pain, he decides to put his hand in the campfire. Because there is no signal traveling to his brain, Jimmy does not know that this fire will be seriously detrimental to his hand. Eventually, Jimmy has no hand, because the fire has burned it off. Now let's take a look into the real world. Jimmy is standing next to a campfire. He puts his hand in the campfire. The chemical stimuli shoots to Jimmy's brain and causes his arm to jerk back. See, pain is good. So let's take a more in-depth look at the pain process. The first step is pain signal reception. The pain stimulus is transmitted via two types of sensory nerve fibers: A omega nerve fibers, which are fast and surrounded by a thin layer of myelin, and C nerve fibers, which are slower and non-myelinated. There are two types of A omega receptors: mechanosensitive and mechanothermal receptors. The mechanosensitive receptors are the ones that respond to mechanical stimuli. Mechanothermal receptors respond to heat. So, when your friend gets cut by a sword, there's an immediate sharp pain. This is handled by an A omega receptor. The lasting dull ache is caused by the C nerve fibers. Using chemical anesthetics, scientists can block one type of neuron and separate the two types of pain. But we'll get into pain control a little bit later. After pain signal reception comes pain signal transmission. The signals from the wound move up into the spinal cord to the dorsal roots. There, they make synapses on neurons within the dorsal horn. They then synapse on neurons within the spinal cord segment that they entered, and also on neurons 1 to 2 segments above and below their segment of entry. All of these connections relate to different areas of the body. This is why it's sometimes difficult to figure out the exact location of the pain. After transmission comes the pain pathway. Once the pain reaches the brain, it gets processed. The brain can influence pain perception. The dull ache from the sword eventually goes away, but if you try to distract yourself, you don't even think about the pain. Studies have shown that people given placebos often report a decrease in pain. The cerebral cortex is the thinking part of the brain, where the sensation is generated to cause awareness, while the limbic system generates emotional responses such as feeling sad or angry. The cortex is where the perception of pain occurs. The central gray is the midbrain gray substance that is located around the cerebral aqueduct. It plays a role in the descending modulation of pain and in defensive behavior. The thalamus is a symmetric part of the brain. The thalamus is a sort of relay station in the pain process. It sends signals to various areas of the brain, including the transmission to the cerebral cortex. As stated earlier, the limbic system is a regulation center of the pain threshold and of the emotional reactions. Why do thoughts and emotions influence pain perception? As it turns out, you're not the first person to wonder that. In the 1960s, two scientists named Ronald Melzack and Patrick Wall developed the gate control theory. The theory states that the spinal cord has a neurological gate that blocks or allows pain signals to pass and continue their journey to the brain. The gate does not open or close. It's a bit non-traditional. The spinal cord differentiates between small and large nerve fibers. The small fibers are allowed to pass, while the large ones aren't. This is a probable cause to most chronic and phantom pains.
Is there any way to block pain?
Yes. Physicians treat pain in a whole bunch of different ways. Pain management can include medication, surgery, or alternative procedures. The easiest way to block pain is through medications. Aspirin, acetaminophen, ibuprofen, and naproxen all act to help relieve pain. When pain occurs, the damaged tissue releases enzymes that stimulate local pain receptors. These drugs interfere with enzymes and reduce inflammation and pain. Though it may be a good quick fix, prolonged use could cause damage to your kidneys. In extreme cases, surgery can be performed. The surgeon would have to sever the pain pathway by altering areas of the brain associated with the perception of the pain. These surgeries are usually a last resort. The therapies that fall under the scope of alternative pain management are chiropractic, massages, acupuncture, or mental control techniques, like meditation.